Episode 27. If the Sabbath was temporary, why is it the only commandment God said to remember? Key text. Exodus 28. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. If the Sabbath was only temporary, a Jewish shadow, a ceremonial relic, or a tradition to be replaced, then why is it the only commandment God began with the word remember? Not remember to avoid idols, not remember not to murder, not remember not to steal, but remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. Exodus 28. That one word, remember, exposes the lie. Why? Because you don't tell someone to remember something that's about to vanish. You tell them to remember something sacred, eternal, and foundational. And yet today, it's the one commandment the world forgets. Now ask yourself, how could God say remember while modern pastors teach forget? The fourth commandment isn't ceremonial. It's creation-based. It wasn't written in Moses' book. It was carved in stone by God's own hand. Exodus 31:18. And God didn't whisper it privately. He thundered it aloud from Mount Sinai for all Israel to hear. So why did he say, remember? Because he knew the world would forget it. Forget who the Creator is. Forget the day he sanctified. Forget the very sign between God and his people. That's why Ezekiel 20:12 says, Moreover also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctify them. The Sabbath isn't about legalism. It's about identity. It's God's weekly reminder that we are his, and he is ours. But today, man says, we don't need a day anymore. Jesus is our rest. Yet God said, remember the day I made holy. You cannot say, I follow Jesus, and ignore the one commandment that points directly to his role as creator, John chapter 1:3, Colossians chapter 1:16. Let's break it down. If the Sabbath was only for the Jews, why did God give it to Adam before sin existed? Genesis 2:2-3. If the Sabbath was abolished, why does Isaiah 66:22-23 say, it will be kept in the new earth by all flesh? If the Sabbath was replaced, why didn't Jesus, who had every opportunity, ever say so? You know why. Because it wasn't replaced. It was ignored. By tradition, by Rome, by those who feared man more than God. But God said, remember. And here's the irony. Sunday keepers call the fourth commandment a burden. Yet it's the only one that offers rest. In Mark 2:27, Jesus said, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Not for Jews, not for a season, but for mankind, for you. So let me ask, why does God say, remember, but you say it doesn't matter? Why does he call it holy, but you call it abolished? Why did Jesus keep it, but you feel free to break it? The truth is, the command to remember is still echoing. Not in legalism, not in Jewish ritual, but in the call to honor the Creator of heaven and earth. And when God writes his law in our hearts, Hebrews 8:10, the Sabbath won't be forgotten. It will be cherished. So I challenge you, will you remember what God said to remember, or follow man in forgetting the only commandment God called my holy day, Isaiah 58:13? Because those who remember will be remembered.